Wade's RV is a different dealership. With top brands, experts to help, and a full service center, come see us today. We're located at 161st and Highway 75 or at wadesrv.com.
This is Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Your RV guide for Oklahoma and beyond. Give us a call at 918-460-KRMG or text us at 95920. Now, let's hit the road.
Good afternoon and welcome to Camping with Wade's RV. This is 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Welcome in. I'm Skylar Cooper.
And I'm Willy D.
We are in the studio today, but it's different. Not awkward at all, right, Willy D?
No, it's not awkward at all. You're just kind of the guy through the glass, I guess.
Like a prison visit, like you said.
Yeah, just kind of like that.
So sometimes in radio, you have people who take time off, and there's just, no one there to fill in. So here I am pushing the buttons on one side of the glass, and Willy D's all alone in a studio with the camera. But on your end, it sounds the same. So
okay, perfect.
Yes, it's all good. Right. Did you have a good week?
I did have a great week. Yeah, it's been all right weather. It hasn't been super, super cold, and we didn't see any of that snow this week. So I think overall we're doing great in the Tulsa area.
I think so. I know that they keep talking about snow, but I'm looking ahead because we're almost to March, and I'm thinking let's just be done with winter.
I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to get into springtime, and I'm ready to start going camping every single weekend. That way it's not spotty, and I can just really enjoy the outdoors.
Hey, I want to mention before we get too far that you can text your questions to us to 95920. If you have any RV questions, maybe you're thinking about getting into the camping hobby, or you've got an RV, you're a long-time RVer, you just want to send us a comment or some tips, then you can text us there. That phone number is 95920. Willy D, a couple of weeks ago, we had a guy call in and was asking about CNG, compressed natural gas.
Yes.
And so this morning, since I was in here, I talked to the Wheels guys, and Tom Sewell from Tulsa Gas Tech is all about CNG. So I asked him his thoughts just to follow up on that question. And he agreed with your parts guy, John, that, yeah, you can do it. It's really actually kind of cool in some spots. Some people go propane when it comes to the appliances and everything. But Tom agreed that it's great for fleet vehicles. It's even great for some people in their daily drivers. But as far as an RV goes, you're probably not going to make that money back because it is going to be costly, and you're not going to drive it enough to really justify the upfront cost.
You're right, and that's exactly with RVs. You're not driving them every single day like you do your car, and that's why, like, if you're looking at your tires and stuff, most of the time if you look at an RV, the tread on the tires is going to be excellent, but you got to pay attention to those date codes on those tires to make sure that you're right inside those ranges. We at Wade's RV recommend you swap out those tires every 6 years or so because the oils will pull out of them, and you'll start to see a little bit of that dry cracking. And same thing with your oil changes and stuff. If you're not putting that many miles on there, a lot of the times you'll want to go ahead and change your oil in your generator or maybe even in your coach, so then you're making sure you have fresh fluids and things like that.
We love to take your questions if you have technical things. Willy D is really good with knowing on some repairs, really great on the features kind of thing on any model. I know I could probably, if I knew them, could shout out a model and you could give me like 4 floor plans and how many bathrooms.
Probably. I love everything about RVs. I'm really blessed every single day when I go to my job. It's like a dream come true. Who gets to go RVing all the time and just gets to live the lifestyle? I mean, I think I got it pretty good over here.
I know the feeling, man. So today we kind of want to talk to people who aren't in RVs just yet. Mm-hmm. And maybe they're considering, some people like to travel. Some people like to go to the beach. There are different destinations that people have that they like to repeat or find new ones. But what if you're considering RVing? Willy D is going to tell you why RVs. Why is this something you should consider? Maybe you don't have the right mind frame on what it's like. Maybe you think old school campers, and it's, trust me, nothing like that. So we'll talk about some of that. We'll talk about the affordability and then some of the features that you'll find, or at least the significant ways to be benefited by going to Wade's RV. So let's remind folks really quickly, Wade's RV, 161st and Highway 75. How can they find you?
And you can also go to the 121st location, or you can go online. We're really easy to find. Just go to Google, type in Wade's RV, and we'll pop right up at the top. Or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're all over the place.
All right. So when I was in college, I had a government class, and the guy was scary.
Okay.
Because there were a couple of quizzes, but there were 2 papers, and that was your grade for the semester. So what he did on the final was he said, okay, great notes guy. Like if you took his notes, you were going to pass. But he would say his final was 1 sentence, and it said, you're on an airplane, and you're sitting with somebody next to you who says 2 things to you. Number 1, they say, I've always wanted to be with someone like you. And it was just his weird way of breaking the ice. But the second part of that question was always, And I've always wanted to know how the executive branch of the government works.
That's a pretty loaded question.
Right. So that's how you had to write your essay. I think that's kind of what we should do today. If I'm sitting next to you on a plane and I say, Willy D, why should I get into RVs?
Well, let me tell you why. There's lots of different reasons. A lot of people think whenever they're thinking RVs, they think maybe a senior citizen or maybe someone that's retired and just can be out all the time. That's not the case at all. Every day people have RVs, and even people that are my age. If you haven't seen me, I'm kind of a younger guy. But even people my age, they have RVs. Some of my friends right now, they're actually out in Las Vegas. Isaac, who used to be on the show a lot, he is... excuse me, he's out in Las Vegas right now with his company GK Pro, and they're actually at the 2020 Las Vegas Challenge, and that's for disc golf. And so that's a whole bunch of guys that are my age. It's about 6 of them, the GK Pro guys, and so they go out and they travel around almost every single weekend going to different disc golf tournaments. So they use it for work, but you can also use it for pleasure. As you've heard, I go out all the time. If I can, I try to go out every single weekend and find a new little local spot or somewhere close by that you can go out and really enjoy it, because you're going to make a ton of memories. If you're sitting home on your couch, you can watch a different episode of The Office, but guess what? You're still on your couch and you're not learning and you're not experiencing life and the world for everything that it is. And so you can really get out there and enjoy that stuff.
Are you watching me at home? Like, how do you know that's what I'm doing?
Well, that's what I'm doing. So I assumed it was probably the same thing.
Same, actually. Yeah. No matter how many times you've seen it, it's a good nap show, because I already know what happens and I don't care if I fall asleep.
Yeah. And if you wake up, it's going to be a great joke to wake up to, puts a smile on your face. So
people get into them for so many reasons. Like you said, work. Some people go for adventure because they just want to get out on a vacation. But when I think of it from a kid's standpoint, when I was younger, it was me and my friends. We would go stay in RVs on 4-wheeler trips or just down the street. So, you know, when you're 14, just being out of your bedroom is kind of like getting away.
Oh, yeah.
So you'd go stay outside.
And, I mean, we're adults now, so move out of, you know, tent camping's great, but go ahead and upgrade your lifestyle. You know, you moved away from those Razor scooters and you moved up to a bike, and then you moved up to a car. Just keep the progression going. So with camping, just go ahead and get a camper. They're really super affordable. They start at only $99 a month. So whenever I was growing up and I was camping, there's a few things I noticed about a tent. For one, it didn't ever smell that great. Whenever you know, you get a wet tent, you pack it all up, it's kind of got a weird funk to it. And then you get a whole bunch of your friends in there. It just adds to it. And then every time I was setting up or tearing down, I was kind of frustrated, and I usually broke out a sweat because it was quite a bit of work at the end of the day. Whenever you're putting all those poles in there, stretching it out, trying to make sure you put those spikes in the ground without hitting rocks and stuff. I mean, it's a process. With a camper, you can either drive it right on up or you can pull it right on up, and then you're good to go. You don't have to do anything else. There's no work involved with it. So it makes it super simple, and that's why I like going in an RV, because you can go out there and relax.
Man, tents are just a pain in the butt. Last few times I've gone out to set one up, it was us going, okay, you know what? I'm going to save a few bucks and not rent the cabin, which is out at Little Sahara. We had a cabin we always went to, but this trip we thought we'll save it. We'll just save it. You know, it's $100 at night. So we'll bring a tent. And then it just so happens, and this happens out there from time to time, but we had a windstorm. So not easy to set that up. It's trying to blow down the street.
It's more like a parachute at that point.
It is. And there's sand beating you in the face, which is not easy to deal with while you're trying to set up a tent. And then you go to sleep and you have to somehow string out an extension cord somewhere and air up your air mattress, which always ends up flat. I don't care how good it is.
Well, you're on the ground. There's rocks on the ground. Yeah. You know, you're not up in a camper. That's why.
It always happens. And I'm always uncomfortable. I'm a very, temperature is important to my sleep. And in a tent, you're either freezing or you're hot.
Oh, yeah. That was actually the next thing on my notes about tents, is that the temperature, you don't, you know, if you had that wind, you do have the luxury of having a little bit of air moving through the environment, but you're not going to be able to click it and say, I want it at 70 degrees or I want it at 74 degrees and make sure that you're just set up perfect. So with an RV, you absolutely can do that. All of them have ACs and heaters and everything to make it a really nice and convenient trip for you. Even those pop-ups, which we have this really cool pop-up right now. If you're looking for one of those, it has a toy hauler on the front. So if you had your four-wheeler, you could literally drive it right up on the front of that trailer, and then you have the pop-up and you're good to go. Super lightweight. I think it's only like 1,000, maybe 1,500 pounds.
That sounds good, because that was always the worst part of the end of the week or weekend, when it's time to go home and you're tired and beat up and sore and you just don't want to load everything and pack it up. That'd make it easy.
Yes. Work. That's what you're doing with a tent. So we're all about getting out there, relaxing, and having a good old time.
Some people do go out and they live sort of part-time, full-time, because they're on assignment for a couple of months in North Dakota or whatever it is. And sometimes they'll get paid to, pay for their hotels and their food and stuff. And then I guess it's totally fine. The employer doesn't care what you do with it, but people turn around and use that to pay for an RV.
Oh, yeah. So why would you be paying someone to stay somewhere if you're not going to get anything in return? Yes, you might get a great night's sleep, but if you're going out on assignments and you get that per diem money, maybe you're out there welding or working out on the power lines. There's so many different jobs that are on the road these days. It really amazes me with the people that come into the dealership. You get to meet so many different people in different career paths. But if you're out there and you're paying, $100 a night for a hotel room, you can get a camper for like a couple $100 a month. And whenever you're looking at that in perspective, you're going to be able to save so much money by putting that money into your camper. And whenever you come home, you can go out and use it and enjoy your time off, or you can stay in it as well and then save more money whenever you're just hanging out here in town.
There's more to the affordability than just the camper itself. We'll get into some of that. This is Camping with Wade's RV. Text us your questions. 95920 is the phone number. You can also call 918-460-KRMG. This is Skylar Cooper with Willy D. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Camping with Wade's RV, 1023 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. Skylar Cooper with Willy D today, talking about some of the ways you might want to get into RVing if you're not already in that lifestyle. Man, there's so many people that are probably thinking, I don't want to do that because it's hard or it's not affordable or it's just
they're holding
not
themselves
like me.
back. They need to jump in and take a dive. Come on out and see us at Wade's RV because we'll show you how fun it can be.
Lots of cool things to do. And right before the break, we were talking about the affordability of some of it. Not only just like, your monthly payment's going to be pretty low if you're getting into an entry-level thing, and it's going to save you a ton of money or for a regular traveler or you want to start traveling.
Oh, yeah.
And, hotels, goodness.
Yes, they're so expensive these days. I was watching a video on YouTube about a couple different national parks. I'm always trying to learn about new cool places that I can go out and try. And this couple, they were talking about how whenever they were going out to national parks, whenever they were first kind of thinking about getting into RVing, they looked up the hotel cost. And a Super 8 here in town is usually pretty affordable. But if you go up there into the mountains around those state parks, you don't have to stay at, some super fancy hotel for it to be $200-300. Mm-hmm. Literally, the Super 8 up there is going to be $200. So if you're thinking about, I'm going to have to spend the gas and everything, well, you got to think of the whole equation once you get up there. And also think about whenever you're out there cooking and stuff. So last time I checked, whenever you're cooking over a campfire, it's pretty inexpensive. So you're not going out to all these super nice restaurants and stuff, and you can really enjoy the time with your family.
A lot of people think that RVing lifestyle can be for like retirees, and a lot of people do, but it doesn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't have to be that way at all. RVing is for everyone. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're in. I always tell people, if you're thinking about RVing, get into it. For one, it's pretty inexpensive. We got some great used units out there at the lot. So if you're just trying to get in and try it, we can help you out with that. But you can be a young person, you can be middle-aged, you can be 90 years old and get into an RV. We see it all the time, and you just don't want to hold yourself back. We actually had a customer come into the store earlier this morning, and they were telling us about a new spot that they found, and I wanted to go out and try it. It's actually out in Lawton, so it's a pretty cool little place. And so I've just wanted to go out there and give it a try. So lots of different places, lots of different things to see, and it's a great time.
Have you heard the old adage about buying a boat, how the best and worst days of your life are the day you buy it and the day you sell it?
Yes.
Does that translate to RVs for anyone?
No, I've never heard that myself. Every customer that I have, usually they're really upset whenever they're getting rid of their RVs. Unfortunately, there is a time whenever, you are a little too old to get out there in RV, and if it's maybe not safe for you, or you don't have someone going out there, we want to make sure everyone's safe. But we've had some people, they've had to sell their RVs and stuff, and they miss it, and they still come out and hang out at Wade's RV, so I'm glad they're not strangers. But usually it's a really sad day whenever people are getting rid of it.
We did have a couple on the show maybe 6 months ago or so, and they were full-timers for, I think, 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's a long time. And then they said, it was sad when they stopped because they did feel like, and their kids specifically felt like, they might be a little bit too old because they were starting to have some health issues, and one of them needed an emergency room, and they were on the road. So the kids thought, I'm going to need you to be closer to home.
Yes, it's always better to be safe than sorry. But if you don't start now, you're going to be missing out on different memories and different things. So that place I was telling you about in Lawton is actually called the Holy City. It's pretty cool. It's a replica of Jerusalem, and they have a castle, and it's the chapel, and they actually have been doing the longest running Easter play that's outdoors in the whole U.S. So it's a really cool place, and you got to go there at just the right time of year is what I've been finding out. But the customer summer. They just went out there, and so they said, you guys got to go out there and check it out. And so I think we're going to be out there in the next couple weeks.
I had no idea that existed right here in Lawton, Oklahoma.
I had no idea myself, but that's kind of the cool thing about, texting. Tell us where you go. We always like to learn about different places, and always come by and tell us about your stories. In my office, as we've said in the past, I have tons of pictures. It's my big collage with all over the wall, different people going out camping, sending me those photos because I want to learn about it. I want to see what kind of fun you're having. While I do get to camp a lot, I'm not camping every day like a lot of these people are. So it kind of makes me jealous at the end of the day, but it just puts my mind in a good place.
RVs come in so many different varieties that's really, no matter your price point, you're talking about affordability a minute ago, it's going to fall into someone's, $100 a month is about as low as it can get, right?
Yes.
So, a cell phone bill, as we've compared it to before, or less for some people. If you got a family plan, you're probably paying a lot more than that. But, maybe let's say you are a little better off and you want to get a nicer one. What are some of the different variations that you see as price goes up? So I know there are classes. Some of them you're driving, some of them you're pulling. How does that break down?
So there's definitely different classes, and with all of that, a lot of people think, if I want a Class A diesel pusher, I'm gonna have to spend $100,000. That's not the case at all. We actually have some. We had a fresh trade-in come in this week, and it's only got like 30,000 miles on it. It's got a 300 horsepower engine, and I think it's less than $20,000 if I'm not mistaken. So it really depends on what you're looking at. If you're looking for that specific, if you're looking for a diesel pusher, and you only have 20,000, or you're only wanting to spend 20,000, you probably should look at one that's a little bit older, not one that's brand new. Now, on the flip side, if you're looking at a travel trailer, you could get a brand new travel trailer for $20,000, or if you wanted to get a used one, you could spend, just a couple thousand. I think that pop-up is, less than 10. So there's a RV for everyone. It just kind of depends on what kind of style that you're looking for.
Gotcha. And that stuff can really vary. And you said last week, you showed me the pictures of that 77 that you had. Is it still there?
It is still there. So it is still available for someone to take advantage of. Don't wait long, because units like that, they don't stick around very long.
Wade'sRV.com, you can see their inventory there. And that thing's really cool because it's so, it's a 77, but it was indoor the whole time, right?
Yes, it's been stored inside its entire life. And if you've ever seen the movie Anchorman, it's like an exact replica of that. So it's incredible.
And it's not only it's a cherry because it's so nice outside. Original outside, but they've reupholstered in some things on the inside.
Correct. Yeah, they've redone a lot of the leather interior, and then the appliances they've actually swapped out for modern appliances. So I believe it has a convection oven. It's got a brand new refrigerator in there, and then it's got the top grain leather on the seats. I believe it's got an upgraded mattress. It probably even has a satellite on it. This guy had it just totally decked out. It has a rebuilt transmission, rebuilt engine in it. There's nothing that hasn't been touched on this thing. You would think it just came out of a museum if you saw it.
So I see now that I skipped ahead a little. When we get back from the break, we need to check the news and the forecast, but we do want to talk a little bit about some of the other options that are out there in terms of what might fit your lifestyle. And we're talking, Class A, Class B, those sorts of things, and really what all of those definitions mean. Because if you're not into RVs yet, you probably don't know all that. I've been doing a show with these guys for over a year, and I still don't know what all that means. So.
And we're going to teach you. Don't worry.
Hopefully I can eventually remember. It's Camping with Wade's RV. I'm Skyler Cooper with Willy D. We'll take a break, check the news and the forecast. It's warming up. It's going to be a nice day. We'll be right back. This is Camping with Wade's RV on KRMG. Welcome back. It's Camping with Wade's RV, 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk. I'm Skyler Cooper.
And I'm Willy D.
We are in separate rooms today because sometimes in radio you got to fill in for somebody and then pull double duty.
It's just so lonely over here, Skyler. I don't know whatever I'm going to do.
When I say sometimes, I mean every couple of days.
Okay.
Something weird like this will go on. So we are together but separate through the glass here. It's almost like a prison visit.
Hey, it's all right.
Talking about RVs today in a sense that we love to hear from experienced campers, and we always want to know where your spots are. So if you want to share some of that wisdom with us, text us at 95920. We also take your questions there. So if you have problems with something you need fixed, or if you have questions about getting into RVs, that's really the focus today, because we're talking to people who may think, oh, that's not my lifestyle, but we're going to convince you that it can be, because it's so modern. Things have come so far. If you haven't camped in a long time, we're not talking tents and we're not talking old wood grain ugly stuff. We're talking really nice things. We've gone over sort of why and different reasons people use RVs rather than traveling around using hotels. Also, the affordability. I mean, the monthly payments can be really low. The affordability of eating, bring in your own food. You can travel with the fridge full. Some of the other things that really can make it easier is, for me, I'm not like I don't really get my kicks out of doing all the maintenance and everything and worrying about all that. That's something that they can let you guys handle.
Oh, yeah, we can handle it all for you. So one really cool thing is I got to go hang out at the 121st location. I always say the other store, but it's really our original store where we started. So I was out there and I got to hang out and see a couple of really cool things that were going on. I talked about the paint booth, and I got to go hang out with our body work guy. I'm going to be posting some pictures of that this week, and kind of giving everyone a little bit of a tour in the experience. I was hanging out over there with Larry in our parts store. It's a whole building dedicated to only parts. So if you're looking for it, there's a good chance he has it. One of the funniest things I saw is he has a random RV door. So if you're looking for an American Coach RV door, we got it sitting there waiting on you. So we got a little bit of it all. And then Amanda, she's the one that runs the shop over there. She does a great job, but you got to stay out of her way because she's down to business over there. So lots of really cool stuff, but we have the body shop over there. I went over there to get a video of the lift. They were actually using some jack stands, so I didn't get the full footage of it, but it's still pretty cool that we can do all the work on the chassis and different engine maintenance that might need to be done. As I said, Amanda, she just got back from Spartan training, which Spartan is a specialized chassis, and we work on just about any make and model. And most of the RVs in the world, they're actually created in the US of A. You know, with cars, we get them from all over the world, and, you know, just about everyone makes one. Well, RVs are made here in the USA, but there are a couple different companies out there in the world who do venture out. I mean, it's pretty cool to think about other countries RVing and different stuff. We ship RVs overseas every once in a while, but we had a customer who was actually from Germany come in, and so his RV was a German RV. Now, talk about getting parts and stuff. A lot of times here in America, it's hard to get parts, you know, for the ones that are made here at home. And we contacted the manufacturer over there, and it took a little bit of time to get it, but within a couple days, we actually had him back out on the road, and he was RVing and camping and everything like that. So we can fix any make, any model, bring it into us, and we will give it a shot. I have never seen him turn it down, so if it happens, it'll be the first time I've ever seen it. So we definitely work on a lot of stuff.
We'll take your questions. Text us at 95920. Willy D, a guy says bathrooms are a problem for his family. I assume that means space.
Yes, I would assume so as well.
So they said that they want to know if there are any pop-up RVs with bathrooms.
Yeah, so there definitely are pop-up campers with bathrooms. Now, whenever we're talking about bathrooms, we got to be very specific. Are we talking about toilets? Are we talking about a toilet and a shower? That's where it gets a little complicated. So if you're talking about space and having room for your family, I would probably more so recommend you get into one of our Aspen Trails. We have those 1750 bunkhouses out there, which actually have a full bathroom, and you're not having to pop it up and do all the work with it. It's also super lightweight because with pop-ups, while it may have a bathroom, typically, I would say almost every single time, for one, it may only be a toilet. And then number two, if you do have a quote-unquote shower in there, it's going to be a wet bath. So it's going to be where it's an all-in-one. So you can sit down, you can shower, and you can shave all at the same time, all in one little confined space. So,
well, while
yes
convenient, that doesn't sound super nice.
Yeah, while it can be convenient, it does get to be a little bit cramped. I have ventured out and tried it a couple different times with different units that we get that have those bathrooms, because like I said, I'm kind of an RV nerd. I like to try it, and I want to be able to tell you the real experience of it. I can't say I've really ever enjoyed one, but there might be just that one that comes in and just revolutionizes all wet baths.
Well, you know, this texter, if bathroom space is an issue with their family, I think you're right that pop-up's really not the way to go anyway, because they're going to have an overall space issue, not just with the bathrooms. And I know I've heard you guys give this advice before. Take that family shopping, because you're going to need to put everybody in there and see if they fit.
Yes.
And it's weird, but it's true that I've heard you guys recommend sit down in that bathroom.
Yes,
and make
absolutely.
Sure you can close the door and be comfortable.
Absolutely. Yeah, people take it for granted. Most of the time, if you go to a house, you can sit down and you can shut the door on the bathroom. With an RV, that isn't always the case. Sometimes the engineers, they have a great idea, but it's not actually implemented in the way that it would actually be functional. So sometimes that stuff is caught whenever you're actually out there on the campsite, and that's kind of a rough time if that happens. So definitely take your family out there, because you got to see if you have enough space, and if you're getting cramped cramped whenever you're looking at the RV, think about that rainy day. It might be a little cramped as well. So take them with you. You can, if you need, bring them out, bring a movie and hang out for a little bit. We're really friendly and we like to hang out and have a good time.
You're talking about that shop up at 121st, your other location where the service center is. What are things, I know we've talked about this recently in terms of like the window seals and the awnings or the slide outs can sometimes have some mechanical issues, but what are some other common things that people should be thinking about or be planning for regular maintenance if they buy an RV?
You hit the nail right on the head right there. So the seals are the biggest thing, and with RVs, preventative maintenance is the best thing you can do. You don't want to wait until you see that water leak. You want to be checking it beforehand to make sure that all your seals are, in fact, intact and ready to go. So as you're pulling those campers out, I would give them a nice, good clean. We're going to talk a little bit about that next week, actually. So get them out there, give them a good clean, and then start inspecting those seals. And if you have a larger RV, that can take some time. So take it in a slow, steady process because you don't want to rush it. If you need, just bring it in to us at Waves RV. We can take care of it. That way you're good to go and you don't have any worries in your mind whenever you're going out there on the first camping trip this season. So take them out, check all of that sort of stuff because that's where you're going to have your problems is wherever you have openings.
So when you're talking motorhomes, we have gas rigs, there are diesel pushers. Do you guys not only, I know you do all of that kind of maintenance, but can you work on the motors too?
Yes, absolutely. So some of the stuff, so I have master technicians there and they can fix just about everything. So if you're needing an oil change, we can do that on site just about everywhere else in town. They'll do an oil change for you, but what they're going to do is they're going to bring it down to Jiffy Lube down the street and have those guys do it and then upcharge you. So we can absolutely do that. If we had to tear down a complete engine, probably what we would do just for one, convenience and affordability and time wise is we'd probably take it down to Freightliner or an engine specialist so then they could be on it in a timely manner and then get into those problems and get them knocked out.
Need to take a quick break here. You're listening to Camping with Wade's RV. More text questions coming in. You can get your questions in. That phone number is 95920. Send us your text. It's Camping with Wade's RV right back on KRMG. Welcome back. It's Camping with Wade's RV on 102.3 KRMG. Skylar Cooper with Willy D live in the studio today taking your questions. You can text us at 95920. We've got a couple on the board, Willy D. We want to wrap up the show today talking about some of your camping food favorites. We did talk earlier about how it's probably more affordable to pack up and bring everything rather than eating out.
It definitely is. So I have a couple different food favorites that I'm going to go ahead and recommend to you guys, and then also a few tips for whenever you're getting ready for those big road trips.
So one of the things that this makes me think of is back when I would go camping at the dunes at Little Sahara. And we would take, so at first we were completely spoiled. My friend's dad worked for one of those companies that supplies gas stations with sandwiches and all those things.
Oh, yeah, you had the best of the best then.
We really did because they had what they called, I think, they wrote it off as samples or whatever, but they basically always had food at the house. So when we went, we would always have that option. We just take a cooler full of deli sandwiches or whatever, and they even had things that you could microwave and actual microwaves.
Yes.
So we took those out there and we bought rented a powered strip really for an RV, but we were putting tents in there and using microwaves out in the middle of nowhere, which was funny because the guys next to us had a campfire. And it smelled really good. And then you hear ding.
Yeah, you got the microwave, you got the crock pot right out there on the power post. You're not going to be limited. You can bring all that sort of good stuff, but you would have been so much better off in the RV with all of that stuff installed.
Right. So, nowadays it's more like I'd rather bring the things to cook outside.
Yes.
So what are some of your go-tos?
Well, for one, I'm not a big hot dog guy. I know there's a lot of guys and girls out there that love hot dogs. I ate so many of them when I was growing up. I can't stand them anymore. So my kind of go-to for a hot dog substitute is going to be a hot link. I like spicy food and that sort of stuff, or a good brat. So I really like those. Pretty universal. You can eat them just about any time of the day, morning, noon, night. They go good with just about everything. And everything on this list, it's kind of a universal thing. I have a real bad habit of liking one thing and then just having it repeatedly. So with this, I might have the same meal 3 times a day. I don't know. It just kind of depends on what I want to do. Whenever you're camping, it's kind of cool. You don't have rules. You can just do what you want. So it's kind of like eating the vegetables or eating your dessert before your vegetables. Right. I got it all swapped around. But so you can do all that sort of stuff. And another thing is, who doesn't like steak? So steak, I used to eat it whenever I was cowboying out on the ranch in Tennessee. I used to eat steak for breakfast, and that is a great option. And once again, you can have it any time of the day. Eggs is also a good option because you can bring it, and there's so many different things you can do with it. You can scramble scramble them. You can put them all in different foods. You can make burritos. It's a very versatile item, so I really like that. And then the number one thing that everyone should love is good old slab bacon. So my grandma always told me to get the slab bacon. Don't get the ones in the little thin packages. Don't get the microwavable bacon. Get the real deal thick slab. You're going to want all of that with all of the good grease and different things. And then let's say you can't get out to the campfire and you are inside and you might need to microwave something, because if you are cooking that bacon or you are cooking that steak inside your camper, for one, it's going to smell a lot like that food and it's going to stick around for a little bit. But then number two, it's also going to raise all of those temperatures inside your camper, because you're in an insulated box. Just like you want to keep your AC and your heat inside your camper, same thing, you want to make sure that it stays in. It's not going to escape the same sort of way.
That being said, we actually have a question about that. Texter at 95920, again, wanting to know about pop-ups. That's a common theme today. They said they want to know if those ACs really work that well in pop-ups. And two, does that material that covers them really hold up in the weather?
Yes, absolutely. So the AC unit that's going to be on a pop-up is the same AC unit that is on actually a little bit larger of travel trailers. Typically, those are going to be a 13.5 AC that you're going to see up there. On some of these small, actually enclosed travel trailers, they only have an 11,000 BTU AC unit. So do they work? Absolutely. And the material on it is going to keep all of that in. It's a very thick vinyl sort of material, so it does a really good job about keeping that in. One of my good friends, Brendan Sloan, he's actually our sales manager now. That's what we actually grew up camping in. He used to have one. It was actually more of a hybrid where it had the pop-out sides and then the canvas around it. So, yes, it works very, very well. I camped in those for years and years and years. I think you would love it, and I think you should get one.
Speaking of those styles of RVs, let's talk about this one. Another texter at 95920 says they have a Class C, and her husband doesn't get around very well anymore, not that mobile. So what can they do? Are there lifts available to install? How does that work?
Yes, there are different lifts available, so then it will actually lift you inside your camper. It kind of depends on what model you have and then which unit you have as well. John, who was on here a couple different weeks ago, he's our parts manager, and he would love to help you get with that. So if you call our store, 918-291-1011, call and ask for John. He'll be able to get you squared away, and we can definitely get that rigged up for you, so then you can get into your motorhome and you don't have to be limited. You can go out and still enjoy all those great spots.
Camping with Wade's RV every Saturday at noon right here on KRMG with Willy D. And let's remind folks how to find you guys, both locations, your website, and everything.
So you can find us if you want to go to our physical store. We have the Superstore. It's located at 161st and Highway 75. I'm always out there. Come on out and ask for Willy D. I would love to help you out. Or you can go over to our service center, which is at 121st, and that's where we have our big lifts and our paint shop and all that. So we do a lot of the body work. No matter where you bring your unit, though, we can get you taken care of. If you do need body work, but it's closer to go to the 161st location, guess what? I'll drive your rig down there. So bring it on down and I'll get you taken care of.
Out of time for the week. It helps when I push my own buttons that I actually have to turn the mic on.
I like your music. It's pretty good.
Thank you. It's a random rotator card.
Okay.
RV camping, it is every Saturday at noon right here on KRMG. And if you missed the beginning part of the show, check out the podcast. It's available on the KRMG app, krmg.com. Willy D, we'll see you next week.
All right. We'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
This is 102.3 KRMG, Tulsa's News and Talk.